Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to talk about full stack developers, one of my favorite topics. And to make it more interesting, we've got special guest today. It's going to be this guy, Klein. What a nice chap. Sit tight. Here's a presentation. The first reason that full stack is back is that interest rates are back to normal. So let me tell you a story. This is going to be quite good, right? Let's talk about development with normal interest rates. This was what happened to software development up to about 2008 when you had that Lehman Brothers inspired financial crash. This kind of thing happened. You had a boss who was an owner, he ran the company, he had the capital, he made the decisions. He says, I need an app built, but money is tight. I only have 300k. Now 300k could be pounds or dollars, doesn't really matter. Probably not yen though. That just wouldn't work. So he says, I only have 300k. And he says to his manager, can you get the app built for 300k? And this dude comes along, the middle manager guy. And he says, yeah, boss, leave it to me. I'll get the right people on the job. Yeah. So he has a think. He has a think. And he goes, oh, the 300k won't get me very far. I'm going to need somebody that can do the entire app, basically. So our trusty hero, the full stack dev, comes along. He's the full stack generalist who can actually build an entire app and put it on the internet, believe it or not. The whole thing. He says, hi, I'm a full stack developer. I'll build it all for 200k. And its results. The full stack dev makes 200k. He gets something to do for the year. He'll get the app done. But that middle manager there goes, oh, I've only got 100k left of that 300k. So when interest rates were normal and money was a little bit tight, this happened. The boss spends 300k, the middleman keeps 100, and our full stack hero, because he's providing most of the value, he's building the entire thing basically, gets that 200k. And that is how the world used to work in software. It was glorious. However, 2008 happened, and now we had to deal with a world of development with low interest rates. And then it got even worse during the events of 2020. Yeah, it got even lower and got even worse. Anyway, so let's go back to the beginning of our story. And the boss here now says, I need an app built, but money is basically free. 0% interest rates. I now have 1,000k or 1,000,000 buckaroos or whatever. Let's go. And he's so happy. He's even changed his posture. So he says, trusty manager, can you get the app built for 1,000k? And the manager goes, yeah, baby. Yeah, boss, leave it to me. I'll get the right people on it. So he says, 1,000,000. I've got 1,000k. I can get loads of headcount on this project and still loads left afterwards. Get in, my son. So he goes and speaks to our hero, the full stack dev. Full stack dev says, I'm a full stack developer. I'll build it all for 500k. Now, why not? That's half the budget of the project, and this guy could build the exact same app by himself. So why not get half of it? And the response, because money is free, the response is no. The middle manager says no. I have 1,000k. I'll get 8 people to do it. So he phones up his friendly recruiter and he says, bro, I've got a huge budget. I need a whole dev team for this project. And the recruiter delivers. The recruiter brings in the UX designer, 100k. Front-end dev, 100k. Business analyst, another 100k. Keeps going, gets a QA engineer, 100k. Can you build an app with these 4 people? No, you can't. The DBA, you've got a big database, so you need a full-time DBA, yeah, to check your stored procedures to make sure they're efficient. 100k. Infrastructure engineer, let's build a Kubernetes cluster for this app. Why not? 100k. And you've got to throw in the architect there. He's got to do the documentation. But somebody's missing. What's this little gap in the middle? He phones up his full stack dev mate and he says, you want a job? I've got a job. You are now the back-end dev for this project. You've got to work with these 7 other people, and I know you could probably do it yourself, but you are now the back-end dev. Give you 100k, well, I'll keep the 200. Sounds fair. So after all of that excitement, this is a summary. In a low interest rate, cheap money environment, the boss or the owner spends that 1,000,000 The middleman keeps the 200k, and our full stack hero only makes 100 because the money is being used against him. There's more money to devalue his work with. But now interest rates are high again. You know, it's up to like 5% in some countries since 2022, after we got over all of the madness. Now, this is what is happening. I need an app built, but money is mega tight. I've only got 200k, says the boss. He's down from the 300. We're now in a tight interest rate environment. Yeah. Trusty manager, can you get the app built for 200k? Middle manager says, core, it's a bit tight. I hope there's some left for me. You can see where this is going, can't you? So he phones up his full stack mate, and the full stack mate says, hi, I'm a full stack developer. I'll build it all for 200k. That's the whole thing. His prices haven't gone down. His cost of living is the same. So he still needs the same amount of money if he's building the whole app. And it's a banging result. He gets his 200k, covers him for the year. He builds the entire app. And the middle manager's like, oh no, well, there's no budget left for me. So in a tight, high interest rate, expensive money environment, this is what happens. The boss and the owner only has 200k. He doesn't have his infinite free money hose. He still has the same app that needs built, but he only has 200k to do it. The full stack dev makes his 200k because that's his value. He builds the entire thing, not just a tiny fraction. And the middleman, sadly, makes 0. And that's the end of that story for him. Whew, if you're finding this entertaining, don't forget to hit the like button. So other people that find this entertaining, this kind of thing entertaining, can also find it entertaining. Let's carry on because this is going to get better. Here we go. Here we go. So reason number 2, full stack developers can fill in everywhere. So let's do one of my favorite games. Okay, favorite game to play is the thought experiment. And the thought experiment is what's happened if you basically Thanos snapped people from a dev team out. So remember these guys? Yeah, I've got a poor little guy in the middle, could do it all, but he's been pigeonholed as a back-end dev. What happens if you start removing some of these people? Yeah, can the software still be built? That's the question. Okay, so we get rid of whoever that was. Who was that? The DBA. The DBA, he's gone. Can the software still be built? Yes, probably. The back-end full stack dev guy can also do a database schema. That's 10% of his job. Who's next? Who was that? The business analyst. The business analyst is gone. Can the back-end dev or the full stack dev still talk to the business owners and get user stories and requirements done? Yes, absolutely. Next to go then was that UX designer. Well, maybe you don't actually need a fancy UX for this app. Maybe it has only 50 users. Or you can just use a framework, buy a UX library from Tailwind or whatever, and then the front-end dev, and the front-end dev, the guy, can then use that library. Who's next? Oh, the infrastructure engineer, he's gone. Back-end dev. Oh no Kubernetes cluster for this app. You'll just have to deploy it on Azure App Service or Elastic Beanstalk or something normal, like people used to do. Yeah? Who's next? Oh, the front-end dev, he's gone. Uh-oh, that sounds like a big problem. Can Mr. Full Stack Backend Dev Hero do some front end? Yes, he's a full stack dev. He can do it. Who's next? The architect who's going to write the documentation. Mr. Backend Dev is obviously going to write the documentation. He probably was going to have to write it anyway, and the architect was just going to approve it. And then the QA engineer. Actually, this guy is probably the guy you should keep to actually test it. So there's a bit of a separation of concerns, but as a thought experiment, QA engineer, it's gone. Who's going to test it? Probably the end users. Get a UAT session going on. So what you have now is the full stack dev. He's the hero. He's still left. He could actually do all of it. Any of those roles he could do. And that is the reason full stack devs are flexible and useful. Next up, reason number 3. Full stack developers are better than specialized developers at using AI tools. It's another story. Oh no, it's the return of our middle manager guy. And he's had a great idea. He says, I'm going to get my devs to use AI to build the software. Big brain, galaxy brain thought there from Mr. Middle Manager. Anyway, so first up, front-end dev. Build me a front end. with AI. You've got an hour. Give me the front end. And the front end dev says to the AI, build me a React to-do app using React 19. Cool. You might get what he needs, yeah? You might even drop some spec details of what the app needs to do. But to the full stack dev, the manager says, full stack dev, yeah, call yourself a full stack dev, build me a front end with AI. And that full stack dev says, yes, build me a React to-do app using React 19. But because this guy also understands a middle tier, he can give the AI code generation stuff a lot more detail, like make it connect to the API backend, described by this open API document, blah, 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 blah. And therefore, he is much more useful to the business as a full stack dev because he understands the full stack and he can get the AI to actually do it. Whew, right, that was therapeutic. Thank you for listening if you're still here. If you agree with me, why not hit the like button? If you disagree with me, press the like button 3 times, which is the secret code for disliking a video. If you really disagree with me, feel free to go in the comments and call me an idiot. As always, I love your comments and I do try to respond to every single one. That was my thoughts on why full stack development is having a comeback and is important. Thanks for watching.